Hey guys, this is Trevor Probant. This is the Dirt Road to Wealth podcast. Today we have on the infamous Justin Sliva from Burleson, Texas. He is known far and wide for many different groups. He's going to be speaking at your closest real estate meetup anywhere.
Damn. If I didn't have best friends, I'd have enemies, I guess. Trevor, thanks for having me, man. I always love coming on your show. I told my wife we went to lunch. It was a date today, and I go, I gotta be back at 1:30. I got to do Trevor's show today. And she's like, "Oh God, what are y'all going to talk about?" And I said, "Whatever the fuck I want to talk about, we're going to talk about." So I didn't know which way you're going to go with that. As an infamous, I was like, "Oh God, here we go. It's going to be a grinder comment." So, man, it's always good to be on the show, Trevor.
Yes, sir. No, what we were talking about, guys, is I was literally heading to the gym earlier, and I called Justin, and I was like, "This has been on my mind, as we get deeper and deeper into this, and we were talking about what's better for you as the individual, right? Is it profits or is it paychecks?
Okay.
And all of us have to figure that out, right? And we're going to talk about pros and cons of keeping this as a side hustle and going all in on the deal, right?
Yeah.
Because we've both done it both ways, right? Like, I mean, you didn't do it as long as a side hustle, right? Like, because you got thrown in the deep end.
Got thrown to the wolves, and I don't know that I would have not made it took it past a side hustle had I not done that though. So I could see, like, hindsight's 2020. Oh yeah, I would have made millions of dollars and done all this bullshit. I don't know that I would have. My goal was
let's do that. Let's do just a quick synopsis again for people who haven't heard.
What happened there. Yeah, so in 2016, we started buying some coastal properties and putting them on eBay, which is kind of the basis of the book that I have out there on Amazon. Then 2017, me and my wife, we bought a course for her to learn, and she kind of was going through it, doing the back end stuff, kind of going through it. So in January of 17, we decided to send our first big marketing push out, and it was like 2,500 mailers. I say it was big at the time. We thought that was huge. Nobody was doing big mailers at the time. And we bought 21 properties off that 25 mailers. I mean, that's just fucking unheard of today in today's numbers. But, it was great for us. That was January of 17. April 19th of 17, I got called into the office, the infamous table. I was a COO at the time. I met with my CEO and my vice president of HR. I knew something was wrong when she was calling me at 6 a.m. because HR does not go to work at 6 a.m. on a Friday. So I walk in. He says, "We're letting you go. I don't have to tell you why." And I say, "Yeah, you kind of do." And he says, "No, we have our banter back and forth." I sign a separation agreement, and off I went into the wild world of not having a job. And at that time, you're 35, you got 2 kids. And I'm sitting there, and I tell this story because I remember this vividly. It is so vivid in my memory. I was supposed to go to a concert, a music festival that night, and I canceled. I didn't have tickets yet. I was going to buy them because it wasn't sold out. And I'm sitting by the pool at my house. This is true, just first world problems, right? I'm sitting by the pool. I don't have a job. I don't have a car. I've got 2 kids, and I'm just beating myself up. You're worthless. You got no car. You're a freaking loser. No job. And then I started just picking apart every insecurity I had about myself. Like, you don't have your degree. You can't go anywhere else. You're stuck. You built your reputation on this. And then I remember the pool kind of moving because of the wind, or, just the chlorinator kind of blows. And I go, but I do got this little land company. I mean, it bought a couple properties. There's some profit there. And I said, well, I got a little money in the bank at the time. Everybody tells you a rags to riches story. I was broke and I was behind thing. At the time, I think my net worth at the time was like $750,000. I wasn't broke.
You weren't. Yeah.
35. Yeah. I was in okay shape. I wasn't gonna not be able to eat the next day.
But you earned that through.
Oh yeah, I sold my soul to work for that. It wasn't given to me. That was pure work, head down, working through my 20s, making decisions that I knew would benefit me later on in life. I didn't know how they would benefit me, but I knew they would. So we go from there to buy the. I said, I'm going to give myself 6 months, and I'm going to go at this every day like it's a freaking job. And I think that's where the story really should start for this conversation: paychecks versus profits. Because my job was, now I got to earn my $5,000 I need a month to live. That's what my bills were. that's what I needed. And I went to work every day, punching the clock. Like, hey, I got up, went to the gym at 7. I was home at 8:30. I was in the office, and it was till 5 o'clock every day. And if you called me on a Thursday night at 12 o'clock at night to talk about a lead, I was answering the phone. I went to work because I had to survive.
Yep.
So,
and that's funny that you talk about that, right? Because I had the same thing happen to me in 2020 when the pandemic hit, right?
Yeah.
Pandemic hit, and I had been doing land deals and here and there and everything else. I said that my first mailer was like, 1,250, right? And I bought, and I was like,
your first mailer was before that, though. That was
oh
what
yeah,
before.
2015,
Yeah,
right?
2015,
Like,
16.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when it was just, But again,
Yeah.
I had always done it as a side hustle.
Yes, sir.
Right. And I'd always done it as, hey, this will be a little extra money here and there. You know what I mean? And then 2020 happened because I had a great job. Like I built something with these guys. I didn't have equity. That was my fault. But like, to be honest with you, I didn't have to work that hard. I had built over the first 3 or 4 years, built it up. And then I was just maintaining
the book of business
accounts.
Yeah.
I was just maintaining accounts and they all loved me. Right. Everything was great. Like I was the opposite of that, and I had gotten too soft, to be honest with you, right? Because I was like, why did I not push? Because I had the money and I had the time, and I didn't push as hard as I should have when I was doing both, right? And then 2020 hit, oil goes to negative 34, right?
Yeah.
That was great. These guys, we had started with us, sleeping on air mattresses in a shop in Williston, North Dakota, 5 of us, right? Working. And then they're like, hey man, we got to let you go. You make too much money, And it's not like they wanted to, right?
No.
Like, it's like, dude, like the 2 owners are basically all the admin and then the guys in the field. And that was it, right?
Yeah.
Like we'd built from 5 of us to 220.
Wow.
And then they went back down to 40.
Wow.
Like that's not fun, right? That's not good. But what that did is that relit everything, being like, hey, dumbass, you already know how to do this shit, right? And so, but then I had to spend another 2 years basically working 2 jobs, right? On the land and the deal. So like that's what I want to explain to these people. Like we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
We've all been there, but we've all been successful with what we did, but even before it came to land, because it came with the work ethic.
Yeah,
right?
That's a great point, and I think the guys I see fail at land, and I'm not guys and girls, they quit, they lay down, and you use the word soft, and so like I watch some people and I see them have some success, and I see them get super soft, and I sit here and think to myself, I'm like, man, if the world went to shit, is this a person I'd want on my team or not? And you go, probably not. Like they just some of the little stuff. And then there's people that you get around and you watch them and they get you fired up because they're willing to throw fucking caution to the wind, and they go, they're hard charging, they throw their heels in the ground and they just fucking do it. And it's okay not to be that hard charger. It's okay.
It is.
And
It's
I
okay.
think
I don't
that's
give a
the
shit
thing
what
that we
the internet
miss.
tells
So
you.
yeah, I think that's the thing we miss so much in social media is like, and I watch this group called Baller Busters, and there's a guy on there called Wes Watson. They're just, the Baller Busters are just owning him right now because he tells a story that he was this hard ass in prison, has turned it around. He's this life coach and guru and all kinds of shit. I don't know what he sells, just a fitness course and pumping you up. But you get a lot of these guys that will see somebody like that and they're like, oh, I want to be just like him. I'm going to be strong and I'm going to be buff and I'm going to do this. And they don't have the honest conversation with themselves. Maybe that's not you. Maybe you are a cuck. Maybe you're soft and you don't want to admit it. Now, can you start making traits to make positive things? And can you run your own business? Yes, you can. You can do it, but you have to double down on what you were good at. Now, if it's operational stuff, if it's tactical stuff, if it's processes, if it's computer technology, then you have to do that. But the widget that you create needs to churn off money at some point, or it's just going to be a side hustle.
And that's where that's where everybody gets caught in it, right?
Yeah.
Like, things have to trade. You have to buy or control things in order for you to earn money.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of people that talk, you and I can have a conversation. And I know we'll go back to where we're at, but you can have a conversation with somebody and Justin Pache, right? Like our conversation on this deal the other day, he is learning. He is earning his scars right now,
Yeah.
right, through business ownership. And I love Justin. Like, we've all been there, right? Because
Yeah.
when you talk to somebody if they've actually been through it or not.
Yeah.
They may have all the terms, they may know all the words, the buzzwords, the jargon, the lingo, all this other stuff. But you start talking to them about what it actually is, and
Yeah.
you understand like you don't have a clue yet.
There's a patience that comes with a sailor that has hit rough waters. There's a confidence in being able to navigate it, and I think we all go through that because I love the shit out of his enthusiasm. I think he is a hard charger. He gets me fired up. He reminds me of me 10 years ago, and
What he's done
yeah.
in 2 years is
Oh, he's amazing.
astronomical.
He's done amazing work,
Absolutely.
and I don't want to take anything away from that. But I look back at 32-year-old Justin Sliva as a manager. Man, I chased guys around crew rooms like because they showed up late and they got smart with me, and I'm trying to hit them with a chair or throw their burrito back at them. I've chased guys up locomotives, and I look back at myself. I'm like, dude, you were a fool. What had you so worked up that you were so on edge just to make this goal for somebody else? But that's all I knew is how am I going to be successful? Whether that's me running my own business, is that me working for somebody else? I'm going to give it 100%. And I often blame my stepdad because when I was a baseball coach, or he's a baseball coach for me when I was a kid, if I walked inside the chalk lines on a baseball field, I would get humiliated in a game.
Oh yeah.
Humiliated. There's no freaking walking on my field. And so I still carry that over to the kids I coach today in soccer. But, for me, when I get into a business mindset, whether I'm at a job or I'm here, it's going full force forward. Like I'm hustling. Let's go. Let's go. But I've also gotten older, and I don't want to say wiser, but I've gotten to where I've got myself into shit because I ran too fast, and I had to, hey, just calm down a little bit, take a breath, let's think through this, and it's funny that I see myself in him, and he's a few years younger, and I know when he's going to come out the other side, he's going to be spot on, and it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
But
but let's go back. Let's go back, right? Let's go back. Okay. So that right there, let's talk about the pros and cons of actually and that's part of that conversation, right?
Mhm.
Is you have to earn wisdom, right?
Yeah, they
You
don't teach
can't
it to you.
you
You
can
gotta you
read
gotta learn it.
you can have knowledge, but
Yeah,
you have to earn wisdom,
yeah,
right? So and like you said, you don't have to be that person that hard
yeah,
charges all day long. You
yeah,
don't have to be the guy, the IFBB bodybuilder guy, right?
yeah,
You can just be someone that wants to be really healthy whenever he plays with his kids,
yeah,
right? There's
yeah,
there's there's levels to all of it,
yeah,
right? And there's a lot of this that comes of the pros of not having to worry about. That's like, well, Daniel Brown, right? Like,
huh?
and Derek and some of these guys, right? Like they've got great paying jobs that gives
Mhm.
them time that they can also build their wealth on. Why
Yeah,
in God's name would they want to give that up? And they love it, right?
yeah,
And they sleep a
yeah,
lot better than we do.
yeah. That's a great point. Like I remember when we first started getting into this, and we got our first. Like I said, the first mailer went out. We had properties coming back, and I'm thinking to myself, man, if I made a couple extra $1,000 a month, fuck, that is amazing. Like that. And I would joke with myself, I'm like, I'm gonna get a Lamborghini. That's my Lambo money. And but I had $150,000 a year job, and then I'm just adding on just extra to it. It wasn't gonna really change my life in a way that it was gonna make it. I was gonna live in the house and have a maid and all this stuff, but it was gonna make things, give me the ability to be a little bit more comfortable and enjoy things that I thought were out of reach as a kid. It justified a little bit more in my head. I can put this play money into play stuff that I want to enjoy with my life. And I think that to me,
not feel guilty about it, right? Where you're
no, and
taking your earned
yeah,
income and you're like, oh, there ain't no way I'm going to go buy that toy car.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Or go on that hunt because
yeah,
this needs to go to food, clothes, housing, insurance, all
yeah.
that.
And
Yep.
there's a different feeling when you sit back and you have to decide. You're sitting there looking at your kids staring back at you, and you know that they need fruit or they need food or they need diapers. There's a stress to that. And I don't care who you are. I don't care how well you prepare. But the moment you go from uh, paycheck with this is part time to full time, there is a stress, a weight on your shoulders that becomes there. and it's romanticized so much. I can't wait to be my own boss, and nobody's going to tell me what to do, and I'm going to do all this. Yeah, until you have nothing on the buy board, and you know in 6 months that if you don't keep this money right, you're not going to eat. And so if you don't have big windfalls because you're playing in smaller desert squares, you're playing in 2 acres in Castilla or Alamosa, or we'll name one of the other Elcos or Mojaves or whatever you want to call them.
The 10 secret counties.
The 10 secret counties, you're making, $2 or $3 grand a deal, versus you do 4 deals a year and you're making $200,000 a year. There's a big difference. And like you said, there's levels to it. And so everybody's little situation is different. But, when I talk to somebody and they say, I want to go and do this full time, can I make $100,000 a year? 100%. Yeah, you can. But you can do that with your job right now, make 100 grand a year and not even stress about it. Do that for 3 years, 2 years, turn that money 4 times. Shit, you'll never have to work a day in your life if you don't want to. But by that time, you've got it systemized where you can do it in a little time and you get to actually enjoy it. For me, I'm a weirdo. Like, I like to keep adding shit to my plate for no freaking reason other than like, oh, I got a little extra time. I must be doing something wrong. My boss is going to be mad at me, and you keep working through it.
Well, that's like we've talked about. That's the never good enough for ourselves things, right? And that's what it's
Yeah.
It's great. It's great for production. It's
Yeah.
really shitty for your psyche.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was telling me and my wife. I saw this thing. It's oh god, it's a stoicism thing. I think Marcus Aurelius, I think, he says, if you died today and you look back at your life, you'd see what you loved about it and what you didn't do enough of. Now live the rest of your life like that. And it's something that does effects. It's words that maybe
basically the day that you learn to live, the day that you learn that you're going to die is when you really begin to live.
Yeah,
right?
but it's talking about you look at the things that are really important to you. If you were to look back and you lost it all, you would really miss. Well, live the rest of your life living those. And for a production person, like I was telling her at lunch today, was I have and I asked her this question. I have to give her a day. I ask her a question like that I want to have topic on, so we can have a little deeper conversation. I get to understand the way her mind works. And so I asked her that 2 days ago, and she gives me her answer, and she asked me mine, and I said, like I ordered my dream car. It's been built for about 3 months, 4 months. And I said, here is the example of the way my mind works. And it's sickening and it drives me insane. Ordering my Halo car, one of my Halo cars that I've always wanted, it's shipping tomorrow to come in from Florida to me. And it'll be here this weekend when I'm gone. And I'm already looking at the next dream car. Haven't even driven this car yet. Have not set foot in it, have not seen it, but I'm already thinking about the next car. And she's like, what are you doing? Like, why would you think about the next car? What's wrong with you? Well, in my head, that's already checked off the list. Like, it's already coming. I'm ready for the next one. Like, how am I going to work to get this one? And it's
same thing we get paid with it's the anticipation. It's the
proving to yourself that you got it. Yeah. So
you know what I mean? Same thing with the big subdivide, and you make a 6-figure check and all everything else.
I don't care about the money at the end. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, that was expected. I don't even give a shit, right?
I don't care about it.
The excitement is the making the offer and negotiating.
Oh, finding the deal in the front. So 100%. I don't. People think we're sick for that, Trevor. They think that we're sick in the head because you're like,
we're sick for that.
you made 150 grand or 200 grand off this deal. Yeah. So what? What's the next one? I want to look at that next deal. Look at the cover here. Look at the drainage, the way it's working. And you're already going through the next deal. You didn't take the time to relish it. So
now I got to build concrete roads.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. And that's what we were talking about just before we jumped on. I made you go that. Is like, what's that next thing? What's that next tool in a toolbox? And you're like, I know you're not ready to do that. I said, ready? I don't want to do the extra shit that comes along with it. Not that I can do it. It's not a problem. I can get the engineering firm.
Part of it, right?
But yeah,
we know that's coming with it.
Yeah, it's the all things coming with it. And so, there's I was talking to Adam about this the other day at lunch, and he goes, sometimes I wish I could just be happy going back to work. And there's something romantic about just going to work, getting a paycheck on Friday and leaving. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, but I don't know if my mind's wired that way. It
releases the pressure. It releases that constant pressure.
It does.
It's like someone's got. It's not hard, but it's like someone's got the point of their temple, like fingers on your temple.
Yeah,
and it's not enough. It's not enough to kill you. You can still do things.
Yeah,
but it's always fucking there.
Yeah, you're right. And I wonder if I don't see it that way quite as much, just because I was let go from a job and I have false security. And it's where you take a person that actively left from their job and jumped into this entrepreneurial journey if there's a different, if that's the mindset difference between me and them. Because I still think back to how do I make the paycheck for myself, because I went paycheck mentality early on, and so
Yep.
I have to give myself a paycheck every month. What does that look like, and how far can I get ahead to where I know the business has enough money to pay me and keep my family afloat for 6 months, a year, 12, 18 months, 2 years, whatever that looks like.
Yep. Yep. Well, okay. Let's go back. We've been all over the damn place, right? Which is
That's
good.
what we do. We
Yeah, it's a
choo
fucking
choo
A, man.
ADD. That's what
That's for
squirrel.
sure. That's for sure. So, what about if you are, you've been in this game for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but you really need to figure out, hey, is this where I need to go? Right? Like, does this, and the reason I ask that is because a lot of people, everybody wants to take their land business and make it like turnkey. I've got my systems in place. Everyone does whatever, which is the complete opposite of me, right? Like I'm a relationship. I'm the yeah, and so
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it,
No.
but like the best example I ever saw of that is when um who all I'm trying to remember the night before y'all had y'all's live event. We're at dinner. I go sit next to JT and Justin and all the tech guys, right? Like all the
Mm-hmm.
guys using all the stuff, and I'm like, y'all make my head hurt.
They're so fucking smart.
They're
I,
so
I
smart.
I love those guys. I like JT's coming in town next week, and I'm having lunch with him. He has some business thing,
Nice.
and he's just flying. He's flying over. He's doing a layover for like 2 hours just to have lunch with me. He's doing some traveling, and I listen to him talk, and I feel so stupid when I talk to them. But
Yeah.
he reaches out because I see things different than he does, and
Yep.
we have a pointed conversation, and that's the good thing about this. You know, I you talk about that easy, that the systems in place, easy button. I've had asked to me 3 times this week is about pricing and county selection, and what's the real easy button for that? Who can I outsource that to? And I sit there and go, like, what do you what do you want to do in this business? And what's the, well, I want to make money, right? That's the goal. So that's when it turns from almost a passion project to I just want an ATM. And I don't know that that type of person ever lasts here. Because it's a great widget. It's the ROIs are insane. You know that, I know that. We both agree. And you say it. I love dirt. Like I'm gonna used to joke early on that you would say you're gonna die in a side by side just out showing
I still
property.
am.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
but
Yeah.
and I have a romanticized piece to owning property, and I love the view and cleaning it up, and so I think my journey goes a little bit different than yours at a point. Not a bad
Yeah.
thing. It's my journey,
Yeah.
your journey.
Yeah.
But then I hear the guy go, "Well, I just want to outsource somebody picking and pricing the counties." I'm like, "Your leads? Like that's how you get deals? Like what are you going to do with that? Like what's the point of that in reality? Like I don't get the
Well,
that that
whether that's selling supplements or Amazon
uh-huh.
or ebooks or whatever that is, right? Like it's just a widget to try to get you to where you want to be, right?
Yeah.
And that is the mindset of an employee that wants a side hustle.
Yeah. No, I get
Yeah, I
that.
mean, it really
And
is. And
it
someone like that, if you're thinking about that and you're not willing to go all in a lot of aspects, right?
mhm,
Because anyone can do this. We've
mhm.
seen tall, short, fat, old, young. What it make women,
Smart,
men,
dumb.
it all works.
Mhm,
Everyone works, right?
mhm.
Everyone can be successful in this, right? The thing is it has to be the commitment to it.
Yeah.
You have to love the game if you're going to turn it into your life. And I don't
Yeah.
care what that is, right? Whether that is selling tractors, whether that's playing basketball, whatever that is, that's what you have to do if you're going to turn on the profit side. If you don't want to, in my opinion, that's where and there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to
Mhm,
think about that. And you need to listen to this right now and be like,
mhm.
hey, what is that?
Yeah.
Right? What is that? Because I would build that out as a side hustle, and maybe you build it up to where it does pay everything off,
Mhm,
and you can turn that system and that machine over.
mhm.
But that's going to take you a very long time, And in order to build that machine takes a whole lot of blood, sweat, and tears, even though you don't think it will. It takes a lot more than you can even imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And to put in all those reps at the batting cage and to take all those ground balls, all this other stuff when no one's watching,
Mm-hmm.
you have to love the game. If you
100%.
don't love if you don't love this game, you don't love this business. You just keep it as a side hustle, keep it as a widget,
Mm-hmm.
build extra wealth, be able to provide things to your family that you normally wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Take those extra vacations, you pay for those kids' colleges or whatever that is. Right?
Mm-hmm.
However that is, take your family on a European vacation for a week. But dear God, please don't try to turn it into this thing when you don't even know all the parts and how it really works, right?
Yeah. Yep. I want the easy button to. I said, how easy do you want the easy button to be? Because then it just becomes somebody else just steps in and you sell that as a course. I guess it becomes the guru mantra of here my 7-figure land coaching or my
So
6-figure.
okay, so what's the pros then of being like, hey, I finally have. First of all, you have to have the skill set, right? You have to have
Yeah,
the
I
skill
think
set
I
before you
think
leave.
either way you got to have some bit of the skill set. But one of the pros of when you say pros, you're saying for paycheck or for
Jumping
profit? For
to jump.
profit to
Yep.
jump. One of the biggest things for me was, and you hear this, is the time that you have to focus on it. So again, sick mentality that I'm going to dive in and bust my ass and do whatever it takes. That's
If
the
you're
one thing.
disciplined enough to use that
That
time.
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yep.
And that's the thing I think a lot of people miss in my story when we're talking about, like, well, what did you do all day every day? There's some stuff to do. Every day I was getting up learning about something I didn't know. Like deeds. When we first started, you would hear people talk about, well, warranty deed or special warranty deed. And I, coming out of the training that I took, I thought a special warranty deed just meant it was special. Like it was, they were better because they're special. I'm mommy's special little deed, and didn't understand the intricacies of it. You know, learning about states with affidavit of heirship. Why would I want to know about that? Well, somebody died, and I can get around the probate. Like, what does that look like? How does that work? What states does this work in? You know, getting so well versed in the language of deeds and ways to fix problems on title, and what does the amortization schedule actually look like? Why would I want to put a balloon on this payment? I want my money all out. Why would I want the balloon and amortize it 20 years and put a 5-year or 10-year balloon on? Why would I want that? Well, when you don't know and you're not a professional at this and you don't understand those things, you actually have to have the time to learn it. And so when we talk about, like, hey, let's add concrete roads, well, I know my mindset is, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to be able to walk in and be able to rub elbows with the best of the best in the business on it when I'm done learning about it. And I'm going to
Yep.
be able to have so I can do that pretty well with that stuff now. And I understand the time it's going to take to do it. And I'm like, for me, I don't have that discipline right now, or that bandwidth. And I don't say discipline, but bandwidth with it. But I would say that if you are disciplined enough to spend the time that you have, and if it's 4 hours a day, you're learning about something new. You're like, well, where do I start? That's your problem. If that's where your question is, you want me to hand you the book to start on everything. You're missing the point of being an entrepreneur. Like, it's on you. It's not Trevor Proban's podcast is supposed to teach me everything. It's supposed to give you some ideas. But if I hear Trevor say amortization schedule in a balloon, why would I want to do that? Maybe you get on Google and say, why would you want to put a balloon on a 20-year ammo? And they're going to say, well, your yield's increased. Well, what's a yield? I don't know what that is. What's that? So then you're an investor. You're looking at other niches, whether it's commercial, it's um, residential, and you're taking it to the good old boy land niche and seeing how you can figure it out. There's a reason why there's a fund, there's JVs, there's these things, because we see that it worked in all these other niches and it just wasn't present in ours. That's why is there a hard money program now? That's not, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're saying, hey, Wall Street and these funds and all these people can do it on this other asset class. Well, why aren't we doing it here? And what does it look like to make the two come together? That's what being a professional full-time land investor does for me. I have the time to meld that together.
That's all I think about every fucking day,
Yeah.
right? Like that's all I think about. Like I want to be able to bring because I love the asset class so much. I want to be able to bring good quality asset products, land products
Yeah.
to the Texas Teacher Pension Fund.
Yeah.
because I believe in it so much.
Yeah.
Right. And how do I take then now we're talking to these big funds and they want $50-100 million.
Yeah.
I'm like, I cannot turn it in order to do that, but I can double the value on an enterprise value. Right.
Yeah.
I had an epiphany, and literally I was in the shower at 9 o'clock at night and I was like, fuck, there it is.
Yeah.
I can double it in 3.5 years. I can double the value, the enterprise value of that money.
Yeah.
Easy.
Easy.
And even I've got a list of $20 million that we could buy, $7.5 million in forced appreciation. $53.5 million would be the enterprise value of that.
Yeah.
Right. That's the kind of shit you think of at night when you're committed to it.
Yeah. And so the person that's listening to your podcast that just bought their first, $5,000 property, they're probably not thinking about that. But what you should be thinking about is, okay, well, you get, and I know you've gotten this a lot. Well, I bought this property for $5,000. I really want to get $10,000 cash for it. Okay, well, why don't you want to put it on terms? Well, what do you mean?
I can't.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't, or you don't know how. But hey, that property would probably bring $17,000 on terms. Can you get $2,500 or $3,000 down on it? Well, maybe.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So now you have $2,000 holding $12,000 in profit, and you're getting 10% interest on it. Can you get back to work with that 3, or can you pick up another property, or can you sell that note to me and cash out and do it again?
Or
and then
talk to your brother, cousin, uncle,
your brother,
whatever.
cousin, uncle, and say, hey, I've got these. Your payments are backed by this note, and it's always there. And so that is the thing is, some people's minds don't work that way, and I don't comprehend it, because I want to figure out every exit strategy I can possibly do, every way that we can make money inside of one deal. I want to know it all. And the difference of getting a paycheck and just buying a couple properties and selling a couple properties on the weekend versus having to rely on the profit is, you got to be able to squeeze out that profit at a point that you can keep the velocity enough and fast enough that you can survive. And then that becomes the snowball that has to be there, or what we call the nut, has to be big enough that can cause you to reinvest into your business, buy the marketing, get properties, or use JV partners, and make enough and spit it off that you can survive and have some of a safety net.
Yeah. Well, and we have seen a slowdown all the way across everything, right?
100%. That's,
and
we're getting back to,
part, right?
I tell people we're back at 19 times.
Yep. Yep. This is where, like we kind of talked about, like, where you have to realize the product didn't change. That land did not change. That land, a lot of these tracks haven't changed in 30 some odd years since when they had a new APN number, right?
Yeah.
Nothing has changed except for the cost of capital. You had no control over that.
Yep.
Justin, right?
I didn't.
You bought it. That thing has not changed in 30 years, 40 years since Jim Bob used to run cows in Elko County, right? Mm-hmm. And he still does, and you don't even know it.
He just never, you never fenced him out, so he's just still running them.
Exactly. Anyway, and so, and you're like, why will it not trade? Right? Mm-hmm. You didn't do anything different. That is the whole, the whole book, Who Moved My Cheese, right?
Yeah.
You can't give up when someone moves your cheese and the game gets harder.
Yeah.
When someone moved the cheese and made the game easier, you were a smart son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And money was easy and times were fast and yay. A real entrepreneur learns how to pivot whenever that happens. The nice thing about it is we're not building an individual widget. The product's already the freaking product.
Yeah.
We're not building an individual widget that trends and all this other stuff changes, and you built the very best men's white button shirt there ever was, and now everyone's wearing V-necks, right?
Yep.
Like that's a real thing that happens that shuts companies down for good.
Yeah.
Right? That's where we're very fortunate, where with real estate, the product is the product.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So what are you going to do? And that stress, I was on that call earlier whenever you got on, right?
Yeah.
Talking with Chase, and he's stressing out about a bunch of different stuff. And he was like, well, how long is it going to take to do this? How long is it going to take this? I was like, the key to this is an easy exit through the owner carry.
Yep.
That is the key for the next probably 2 years, right?
Yeah.
At least.
So the bank financing
And
comes back down.
so, absolutely. And so, what your answer was before was just to buy it and
Put it on the
the
market.
market's going to take care of me
Yeah.
is dead.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about having a job, shit,
You still got a
I'm not making
paycheck.
as much, but I'm
Yeah.
still paying bills and I'm okay.
So there's you hit something and it sparked a thought in me. If I have a paycheck, I don't have to trade the dirt. I've created paper wealth. I've created a balance sheet that is worth more, a financial statement that's worth more. I've created my net worth. I've increased it. When you have when you rely on profit, you're required to trade the dirt to realize the asset's maximum value or whatever arbitrage you're getting against it, and you're required to live off the arbitrage. There's no ways around it. You reinvest it, you snowball it, you do whatever. But the big key is there. It has to trade. So if I'm Justin and I spend
Whether
300,
that's percentages of ownership,
yeah,
you do that, right?
yeah,
Whether that is selling like there's multiple different ways of doing it, but
yes,
yes,
but
something has to trade.
there has to
Yes,
be a
absolutely.
capital event take place for you to arbitrage whatever piece of that is in there. But
Yep.
the joys of being paycheck Justin. If Justin still works at the railroad, he makes $150,000 a year. I go out and I spend $100,000 on $250,000 worth of property. My 100 grand became $250,000 on paper, and I'm the coolest guy at the country club. At the Mexican restaurant on Friday night, I think yours is Cancun's or Acapulco's, and mine is Fresco's. So I'm at Fresco's at the bar. I'm like, hey man, I just got $250,000 more in net worth.
We don't have one here.
I thought you had
Cancun
Cancun.
Cancun Grills in Midland.
Oh, is it okay? Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, it's where all the cool kids eat at
yeah.
lunch. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you at that point you've done it. You can realize that gain by selling it, but you don't have to. It's your savings account that was 100 grand just became $250,000 on paper. Like it or not,
And it
that's the way
looks
the
nice
system
to your
works.
banker, right?
Yeah, to your
When you
banker. Your
have your
banker's
net
going to love
worth.
you, and that to your banker and to your retirement planner on paper, you look fucking great. Now flip that, and I'm Justin that doesn't have a job, and I require that. I spend $100,000 on that same $250,000 property. Well, it sounds good, but I need to buy diapers. I
Yep.
can't use that paper value to buy diapers. That proposed equity that I
I will give the best way I ever heard this is Mark Podolsky back in the day. He goes, "You can't eat equity flakes."
you can't eat equity flakes. My kids
I,
don't wear
I love
equity
that, and I use
diapers.
it all the time.
Yeah,
Mark, I appreciate you.
your
So,
kids cannot wear equity diapers.
nope.
So I've got to sell it. But of course, to sell it, because I need to pay the mortgage this month, so I need to sell it in 30 days. It's worth 250. I can't sell it for 250 in 30 days. I'm probably going to sell it for 175. I sell it for 175, pay my realtor and everything, and now I'm at 168. So I made 68 grand. What's better? Making 150 in net worth or making $68,000 a day? Well, if I got to put those equity diapers on my kid, well, he's going to get the Pampers now.
Plus, you don't have the benefits, right? A lot of these
I don't
guys,
have the benefits. So, yeah.
you don't have the benefits. You don't have all this other stuff. So everything that you do is more expensive.
Yeah.
Just you and your family breathing is more expensive.
Yeah.
You
So
know
for
what I mean?
now there is some pros to that though too. The pros, you are when you do succeed, it's on you. There is a confidence that comes with being successful in your own business. There is an error. I don't know how. So there is an aura about you, that
Aura.
aura, a confidence, a swagger, whatever term you want to use. There is that about you that nobody can take that away from you, and it's not you being conceited. It's not you being cocky. It is you being a person who knows that they can stare in the face of flames and battle. They're ready to go. You go to the
It's
woods and you
just
kill
it's
the
just like your
animal.
kids, right? It's just
Mhm.
like your kids, or whatever. But like the best way I explain, like you can't give self esteem to anyone.
No,
That has to be earned.
no.
And whenever you see your kid and he finally goes up to the high dive,
Yep.
he's 5 years old, scared shitless, and he won't go on. He bounces back and forth and he does all
Uh-huh.
this stuff, and he finally fucking jumps, and it hurts a little bit. But God, by God, he gets up and he runs out, and now you can't get the little shit off of him,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That right there is the real trade off, the real prize
Hmm.
in entrepreneurship.
Yep. Why do
1
you
million percent.
why
Because
do you think
again,
most entrepreneurs
I can go BK
uh-huh.
tomorrow, and I might. Who knows, right?
You might
Fuck,
go
right?
what?
BK,
BK.
bankrupt.
Bankrupt. Okay, I've never heard BK.
BK,
Okay.
yeah. I
Okay.
may go bankrupt
That's
tomorrow,
West Texas slang that happens out there
but
so much.
I still have the skill set.
100%. That's a and I've often joked with that. Could I, you saw the $1 billion guys where they said, "Hey, we're going to give you $1,000 and start it all over." They had Grant Cardone was one of them.
We need to do that. You know
I,
what?
I
We need to hire a deal. You and me, we're going to take $100 and we're going to get on the phone and I'm going to put a deal under contract, $1 million deal under contract for $100.
okay.
Ooh,
So
dude. All right,
so
I'll come up there. We'll do it.
well, like I didn't even think it's. I mean, doing $100 to put a deal under contract, but could you restart your business with 5 grand or 10 grand? And what does that look like? And yeah, 100% I could. I would say, okay, here, you give me 10 grand, that's 20,000 pieces of mail. The chances of me going blank on 20,000 pieces of mail is pretty slim to none. Even if I don't have money to buy the property, I can owner finance, JV, hard money, or whatever. I can find a business partner to go. Now, that's a skill set. Like you said, you can't take that away. That's earned. Those are earned stripes, like you mentioned earlier. And it comes during these times of uncertainty. You're going to get creative in how you exit, how you structure deals, how you buy. Everybody, when early on, when we first started doing JVs with people, they'd go, "Why are you so strict about these 4 things?" Those 4 things cost me money every time. Whether it bought it for 10, thought it was worth 50, and those 4 things I only made 12 back. I didn't lose my ass, but still cost me what I thought was different. And so I would pivot from there, and then I got super conservative. I think you can attest to this more than anybody. Is that when I underwrite a deal, it's so conservative that it's like, if it really works after I underwrite it, then we're going to do really well on a deal.
Yeah.
And so it's a I don't know, it's the
Yeah,
stripes that come with
you talked yourself out of millions, Sliva. Congratulations.
it. I know.
Congratulations, sir.
Scared gambler doesn't make any money, but a guy sitting on the sideline doesn't lose any money sometimes too. So, and that's the thing that they say that the more you say no, the more successful you can become, and there's some truth to that.
Oh, for sure. No, yeah. Well, as long as you have the deal flow, right? And
Yep.
then that goes into making sure you have enough deal flow where you can be picky.
Yep. Yep.
When you're not forced to have to do a deal.
Or you
That's
have the
another
cash,
thing.
or you have the
Another
cash
thing,
stack behind
whenever
you
you
that
got,
you can.
yep,
Yep. Patience becomes a virtue.
Yep, absolutely.
So, man, I know we kind of bounced around profits and paychecks. The difference of having a job and doing it with or without. I hope that your listener that's sitting on the fence thinking that he needs to hurry up and quit his job can take a step back and know that he can work knowing that he wants to be there and doesn't have to be there. And that takes pressure off the everyday job. You can sit there knowing, well, hell, my side gig makes me $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month. I don't really have to deal with Paul and HR's bitching all the time. I'm doing this because I kind of like it, and then have some fun with it and really, really do well. And then watch your family have a little bit better life. But there is a
Well,
sacrifice. There's nights and
and
weekends
there's
involved.
always you're very conservative on that too, right? Like for a good reason because of all the stress you had whenever you got thrown out on your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you can be like, hey, build that, right?
Yeah.
Keep that job, build that,
Yeah.
save that. Don't just be spending it. Build that business where it can be a seamless thing, and then you can pour rocket fuel because you have the skill set, you got some money, and
Mm-hmm.
now you add the time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 100%. And that's what
I
I'd
would,
say.
to be honest with you, like if I had a great job, I don't know, maybe I'd been same shit, right?
Yeah.
Like
I remember
I
when
don't know.
I remember when you were getting ready to go full time, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, we're doing Bond Road," and I was like, "Run them both for us." Like, and then Stove Canyon, I was like, "Run them both," and you're like, "I don't want to do both," and I'm like, "Please, just do both. We got you. We'll take care of it." Like, just you're gonna
Yeah,
make you're
but
gonna
there's a story there too, right? Like
yeah
Monday mornings in Sutton County, Texas, is when they have the
commissioners.
county commissioner meetings, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm literally on the phone with a speakerphone outside the county courthouse right before the county commissioners meeting starts at 9.
Uh,
And we have Murder Monday call with my job, right?
or they kill everybody on the set.
Oh fuck yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a douchebag, right? For
Yeah.
the not the previous year, but I had to right after 2020 anyway, and I'm just like listen to this deal, and the county commissioner Mr. Smith comes up. He's like, "Probant, what are you doing?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Getting my ass reamed for something I didn't do." He's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, this is my day job." He's like, "You're doing both of these?" I was like, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah, I am actually.
my friend won't
He
let me
just,
quit yet.
yeah, he just shook his head and said, "I'll see you in there in a little bit."
Yeah.
So anyway, it is funny after he got one of the last deals signed. He's like, "Tell your boss hello for me." I was like, "Fucking shit."
I'm the boss now, baby. But you know what? But what did that do for your family and the security your
Oh, for
family had
sure.
making that transition? There, that's
Huge
priceless.
springboard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You like you
yeah,
said, you were able to add rocket fuel onto it and move into a ton of other projects, and you had the wherewithal, you had the confidence, you had that swagger, you had the backing behind you, and it's a different thing than going, hey, I have I have $1,000 in my checking account and 5,000 in savings, but I need to make $100,000 this year, and you're like going, okay, well, what'd you make it work this year? Well, I made 35,000. So you have to learn the skill sets to make 100 grand, then be okay with not spending that 100 grand so you can keep making that 100 grand going forward. Because it's
yeah,
not about how much you make, it's about how much you can keep investing and spit off every year.
yeah.
So,
And that's another thing too, right? Obviously we don't go on that track, but just because you start making it doesn't mean you need to be spending it, right?
oh,
When you
yeah.
finally start making some money,
Oh, yeah.
you're like, "Oh, I deserve this," right? Katie, obviously, I'm going on a hunt tomorrow,
Yeah.
and it's definitely not a high dollar deal or anything else like that. But like, I bought myself a Garmin watch
Uh-huh.
yesterday or 2 days ago.
So she could find the
It's like
body.
it's pretty, yeah. It's pretty expensive watch, but literally, and she's like, "Well, good," and because I don't ever buy anything, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, I just spent $50 a month, put it away," and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm not right in the head, right? Like,
Yep. Oh, I know. Trust me. I know. I know. I get it. I get it.
I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but like, that's the kind of mindset that you get
Yeah.
when you have the experience,
Hmm.
the wisdom, right? Not
Hmm.
the knowledge, but the wisdom of getting your ass handed to you, and you go through all this stuff. That's why you don't see very many self-made guys that are complete assholes,
Yeah.
right? It's always the second or third generation,
Yeah.
because the first generation remembers what the fuck it took to get there.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I went on a charity event one time. It was for Crohn's and colitis, and I invited David. He was one of our speaker. He was a keynote speaker this year at Casual Fridays live event, and I was sitting there with him, and he's second generation of the business owner for them, and his dad built a couple hundred doors plus an apartment complex on owner finance. Using owner finance, using their credit, built it up. Hit some oil and gas, and then he took over the business. He was an attorney. He went to school to become an attorney. He's a Red Raider like you, and he's blown the business up. And it surprised me when he told us, he had $130 million in assets that they owned, and they were 30 million in debt to those. So they had 100 million free and clear in equity. And it so when he said this, I knew his dad got the business started. I knew he kind of did it, but he said, I look at you and I look at what my dad probably had to do when he started the business, in 96. And we go into this charity event, and he goes, I look around the room, and he goes, and I can tell the guys who really are out hunting every day and have to go earn it. And he goes, and so there is a piece to that has to happen, and it's a different mindset. You carry yourself different. You work different. You're not an asshole, like you said. You got some empathy, but you have to move a little bit different. And some guys just aren't built in that way, and that's not a bad thing. And I'm not saying that. There's just there is a pressure that has to happen. That you have to be willing to do it. There's guys that are built for the military, and there's guys that aren't built for the military. I'd love to believe that I am. I don't know that I am, though. At 42, maybe at 18
Not
I was.
now, for
But
sure.
yeah,
There ain't no way.
now you want me to go to Buds? Fuck you. I'm not going to get drowned 10 times today. So, and that's okay. I accept that. I'm not
Yeah,
pretending I'm going to go do that. So, once you can have that honest conversation with yourself of who you really think you are, and how you move forward, go from there and really
yeah,
do that. But
yeah.
there is
I
no
think
shame in making this a side hustle and running through it.
that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted this to kind of be, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not a race.
Yep.
No one gives a shit. No one's counting your money,
Yep.
right? Like, there's no, I don't give a flying F what you hear on another podcast or see on a short or a TikTok or whatever the hell you want to do it on,
Yeah.
right? Like, run your own race,
Yeah.
and there's absolutely nothing wrong with either keeping it a side hustle until you can move into a full time deal, or keeping it a side hustle forever.
Yep.
Like there's a way that you can build that out. You can still build that system that may pay you $500,000 a year, but again, you don't have to even think about that, because all of a sudden you look up in 5 or 10 years, and you and your wife are done.
Yeah.
Right? That's the cool part about that.
Yeah.
Right? If you really turn this into something, you can still, if you have the bandwidth, right, and your family and everything else, but if you can do this now, right, that's what I tell a bunch of these young guys. I was like, dude, now, what, like, do it now. Like, don't
Yeah.
worry about the other shit, because by the time you're 35, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. Whether that's turning that and you buy an apartment complex that pays you 30 grand a month forever, or whatever, that you personally buy, or whatever the hell that is, you're done.
Yep. And there's a bunch of different ways to get done.
Yep.
But there is you're gonna have to be disciplined enough to take the steps to move forward. And
Which is the bitch about it, because once you get there, you're not ever going to be done anyway.
No,
you're going to be like 30, 90 days in, you're like, to hell with all this shit.
Or you become addicted to the fight, and then you go from $50 coastal properties to $2.5 million, $3 million subdivides, and then you
$1 million roads.
Then $1 million roads, and then it's like, hey, should we start a barn dough company? I think these guys are pissing me off because they won't build it. Maybe we just build one. And then your sick mind just keeps working, and then you realize you're 55 and you should have been living in Thailand.
I got a bunch of Mennonite friends that we can probably do that.
I bet they could, man.
I guarantee you.
I know.
All right, buddy. Well, how can the people get a hold of you?
They can always follow any of the personal socials. Those are a peek into my everyday life. J_J_Sliva on Instagram, Justin Sliva on Facebook, or you can visit me at Casual Fridays REI on Instagram, or casualfridaysrei.com, and tune into the podcast every Friday with me and Mr. Southie.
Hey, and guys, if you're still interested in getting started, right, in the whole deal, they have by far the best course, right? Introductory course, things like that. It's exactly what Justin and Adam have done, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not some bullshit. This is exactly what they do. And you're still sending a shitload of mail now, aren't you?
Yeah, we send anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 pieces of mail a month. Last year for 2023, Peyton, who's my acquisition manager, kind of executive purchaser, whatever role I give her for the day, she is my right-hand girl.
Queen bee.
Huh?
Queen bee.
She's queen bee in the office. She makes it smell good here with her incense that she burns. But no, she was able to buy one for $2,400 last year. Pieces of mail that went out. That was a good year. But she still sends out somewhere between 4,000 and 7,000 pieces of mail a month, and we pulled off. If you follow our Instagram, you may have saw that we posted some full transparency post on 2 subdivides that closed out last week. A combined total of profit on those was about $284,000, and that's off 2 deals that came direct mail from her, off her mail. So pretty cool that you can do that.
Still works.
Yeah, still works. Just send the mail. Send some leads, get some leads, whatever that looks like.
Smoke signals, cold callers, whatever.
Yeah, cold call, text message. Look at deals, and that's not to say that there was more money made off on property deals too. So there's so many different ways to skin a cat. I'm not going to tell you one way's better than the other.
But what's y'all's website again?
Casualfridaysrei.com.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank y'all very much. I know it kind of went all over the place, but we wanted to kind of give you the real nuts and bolts of this wonderful, wonderful full-time game. So thank y'all.
See you guys.